Have you ever felt like you're not enough? Like no matter how hard you try, something in you keeps falling short? But what if the part of you that feels broken is the very part that's quietly making the world more beautiful? This story isn't just about a cracked pot. It's about you. It's about how your flaws might be the reason someone else still believes in hope. So tell me, what if your imperfection is your hidden superpower? Let's find out. Long before the sun stretches across the fields, before the birds begin to sing, a humble farmer is already awake, walking the quiet path to the spring. His back is weathered, his hands calloused by time, but his heart is gentle. Across his shoulders lies a wooden yoke, balanced at each end with 2 clay pots, companions he has carried for years. One of them shines, strong and flawless, its curved surface reflecting the soft morning light. The other is different, chipped around the rim, a fine crack running down its side like a quiet scar. It doesn't leak much, just enough for it to know it is not whole. As the farmer fills them both with fresh, cool water, the cracked pot already feels the familiar ache of failure. It knows that no matter how full it starts, the journey home will end with a quiet trail of loss. Each day as they return, the perfect pot walks in silence, but in pride. It carries every drop the farmer gave it, no less, no more. The cracked pot, however, lowers itself slightly, burdened not just by the water it tries to hold, but by the weight of comparison. It hears no words, but it feels the difference. It feels the shame. The water leaks slowly down its side, staining the dust. It wishes it could be more. It wishes it didn't lose so much. And with every step, it tells itself what many of us secretly believe. I am not like the others. I am not enough. One morning, after years of holding back its sorrow, the cracked pot finally speaks. Its voice is fragile, barely rising above the sound of the morning breeze. "I'm sorry," it whispers. The farmer pauses, surprised. "I'm sorry I've failed you. Every day you fill me, and every day I waste what you gave. I know I'm broken. I know I'm not worth the effort." For the first time, the farmer does not keep walking. He stops. Not out of frustration, not out of anger, but out of something deeper, understanding. Quietly, he kneels beside the pot, his gaze not focused on the crack, but on something the pot cannot yet see. The farmer doesn't scold, doesn't shake his head or speak of wasted time. Instead, he lowers himself gently beside the cracked pot, as if honoring it with his presence. His hands rest on his knees, worn but steady. And when he speaks, his voice carries the kind of calm that silences storms. "Tomorrow," he says softly, "as we walk home, I want you to pay attention. But not to yourself, not to the water. Just watch the path. Only on your side." The cracked pot says nothing in return, but inside, confusion stirs. What could possibly matter about a dirt path? How could noticing something outside of itself quiet the shame that has lived inside it for so long? The next morning, with a faint flicker of curiosity, the cracked pot begins its usual routine. It fills with water, knowing it cannot hold it all. But this time, it keeps its gaze low, focused not on the perfect pot across the yoke, but on the road beneath it. What it sees stops its breath. Lining the path are tiny golden marigolds, blooming softly in the morning light. Blushing hibiscus open like gentle flames. Wildflowers in yellow, crimson, and blue sway in the breeze as if dancing just for them. They're only on one side, its side. And somehow, as the water leaks once again, something else stirs inside the pot. Wonder. It doesn't speak. It doesn't know what to say. But deep down, for the briefest moment, the shame loosens its grip. Not gone, but shaken. When they reach home, the pot can't hold the silence any longer. "The flowers were beautiful," it says, almost reluctantly. "But I still failed you. I still lost the water. I'm still cracked." The farmer smiles, but this time it reaches all the way to his eyes. He bends down once more, looks at the pot with a warmth so full it could fill oceans, and says just 6 words that change everything. "No, my dear." You gave life to them, and in that quiet sentence, the crack in the pot becomes something else entirely. Not a flaw, not a failure, but a source, a giver, a silent, unnoticed life-bringer. The cracked pot sits quietly, still unsure how to carry this new thought. You gave life to them. The words feel too kind, too generous, like light touching a place that's only ever known shadow. The farmer sees the doubt lingering and speaks again, his voice steady with love that has no need to rush. "I planted seeds," he says gently, "all along your side of the path." He glances at the trail behind them, now lined with the soft rhythm of color and life. "Every drop that fell from you watered something I believed in, something I wanted the world to see." The pot doesn't answer. It can't, because for the first time it realizes the leak wasn't an accident. It was part of a design, a quiet plan, a hidden purpose. And then, in the stillness that follows, the pot begins to see what it had missed all this time. The flowers weren't random. The beauty wasn't a coincidence. The perfect pot had never watered anything. But the flawed one, the leaking one, had created a trail of color behind them for miles. It had painted the earth without ever knowing it was holding a brush. Day after day, while it grieved what it lost, it had been giving something sacred to the world. Its flaw had been a gift. Something shifts deep inside, not loudly, not with fire or grand realization, but with stillness, like water filling a place that's been dry for far too long. For the first time in years, it doesn't feel broken. It doesn't feel ashamed. It feels used, chosen. It feels seen, not just for what it lost, but for what it gave. It feels like it matters. Now the story shifts, not just from the farmer and his pot, but to us. Because whether we say it out loud or carry it in silence, every one of us has cracks. Some are easy to hide. Others spill over into everything we do. And maybe you've spent years trying to patch them up, disguise them, or apologize for the ways you don't quite measure up. But what if the cracks aren't mistakes? What if they're designs? Subtle, sacred details written into who we are. Not to break us, but to shape the way we give to the world. Like the pot, you've been leaking, in ways no one else can always see. Maybe it's in the tears you hide when no one is looking. Maybe it's the exhaustion that comes from carrying more than you speak of. Maybe it's the way you always show up for others, even when you're running on empty. But have you ever stopped to wonder, what if your weakness is watering something beyond you? What if your quiet persistence has been feeding someone's hope? What if your crack is the reason someone else finds healing? What if the parts of you you wish were different are the very things making someone else feel seen, loved, or less alone? There's a strange kind of beauty in realizing this. You don't have to be whole to be valuable. You don't have to be flawless to make an impact. Your cracks are not evidence of failure. They're evidence that you've lived, you've struggled, and yet you've continued to give. And when we begin to accept that truth, something deep within us begins to heal. Your worth was never in how much you could hold. It's not about staying full, flawless, untouched. No. Your worth is in how much you give, even when you feel like you have nothing left. It's in the way you show up, again and again, even when you're leaking. It's in the quiet peace you offer someone who needed a kind word. It's in the beauty you leave behind, not because you were trying to impress anyone, but because you were just being you. That's the kind of legacy cracked pots leave, and it's enough. It's more than enough. So if today you feel broken, if you're tired of hiding your imperfections or pretending to be whole when you're not, I want you to remember this. The world needs cracked pots. The world needs people who've known pain, who've walked through it, and who still choose to love, to care, to give. Because only cracked pots leak light into the soil, and from that light, flowers grow.